All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Bree, and welcome to our webinar on building strength and endurance for arthritis. So I'm the Health Promotion Coordinator for Arthritis Queensland, and presenting with me today is Sean, who I bet a lot of you already know. Sean is our very famous community health coordinator at Arthritis Queensland, and he runs all our amazing online and in-person exercise programs across both New South Wales and Queensland. So, as mentioned before, today we'll be taking a closer look at building strength and endurance for arthritis, and we'll provide you guys with some great tips and knowledge on this topic, and I hope you get a lot out of the presentation today. All right, so this presentation contains general information and advice. Every effort has been made sure that it's reliable, but please don't use this presentation as a substitute for the individual treatment advice of your doctor or healthcare professional. So always have a chat to your healthcare team for specific exercise advice as well. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Arthritis Queensland and New South Wales acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. So today we're going to be covering a few different topics around strength and endurance training. So the first one, we're going to have a look at the benefits of strength and endurance training for arthritis management. So we'll have a chat about the impact that they can have on your joint health, inflammation and overall physical well-being. And we're also going to go into some simple body weight exercises and beginner-friendly workouts. And then we'll pass it over to Sean, and he's going to give some guidance on proper exercise form and safety measures to minimize the risk of injury, and also learning some strategies for modifying exercise routines as well. Okay, so what is strength training? So strength training is a name for activities or exercises that build the strength of your muscles. Strength training involves working your muscles a little harder than you would normally do in life, and it's usually against some form of resistance. So you can do this with hand weights, so dumbbells, leg weights, so those cuffs that can go around your ankles, as well as using gym machines, resistant bands, or even just your own body weight. So, for example, when you do exercises such as push-ups or squats. So strength training is not just for young people or bodybuilders. So people of all different ages and abilities and fitness levels can benefit from strength training. And when beginning, the exercises should be tailored to your ability, your strength, and your fitness. And then you can gradually progress as you get stronger. So what is endurance training? So this describes any type of exercise that increases your body's cardiovascular or muscular fitness. So it can help increase your fitness levels and your strength. So then you can do exercises for extended periods. And people often call it aerobic exercise, or they can refer it to exercise that increases your fitness levels. And it does include those activities that get your breathing going, so it makes you puff a little harder, and get your heart rate going. So it could be going for one of those brisk walks, or going for a jog, swimming, riding your bike, or even if you want to do something a little bit different, jumping on using a skipping rope. So endurance exercise, it keeps your heart healthy, your lungs healthy, and your cardiovascular system healthy, and it can improve your overall fitness. So what are some of the benefits of strength and endurance training? So strength and endurance training can increase the strength and endurance and size of your muscles, and they can also increase your fitness levels and reduce your symptoms of arthritis. So it can help support your joints and reduce the amount of strain and stress placed on your joints. It can also improve your posture, mobility, and balance, as well as your bone density, and increase your stamina. So that means that you can do more without getting as tired. It can also help you lose weight and gain more muscle. And as you gain more muscle, your body actually burns more kilojoules or calories, even when you're at rest. So that's why it's really important to include some strength training in your day-to-day life. And lastly, it can also improve your sense of well-being, your confidence, and your mood. So why is strength training really important for people with arthritis? So muscle weakness and muscle wasting can be very, very common in people with arthritis. And this is as a result of pain and having difficulty moving. It's really common to feel fatigued, so feeling really tired all the time, and having less stamina, so not being able to do as much as what you used to. And these factors can also contribute to lower levels of activity, poorer balance, and that loss of independence. And research has shown that people with arthritis can safely participate in strength training, as it can prevent and even reverse muscle weakness. And regular strength training under the supervision of a qualified health or exercise professional is recommended as part of an exercise program. So why is endurance training important for arthritis? So as you all know, arthritis can cause pain, it can cause stiffness, and often inflammation in one or more joints or muscles. So regular endurance exercise can reduce some of the symptoms of arthritis and improve your joint mobility and strength. Endurance exercise improves your overall fitness levels. So it gets you moving, it increases your heart rate, and those are those activities that we mentioned earlier, such as walking, swimming, jogging, dancing, and cycling. And this type of exercise will help improve the health of your heart, your lungs, which is part of your cardiovascular system. It can help you with weight loss and prevention of other health conditions, such as diabetes, overweight and obesity, and also heart disease. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it over to everyone. And I would like you all, if you feel comfortable to take yourself off mute and talk through your microphone, or if you don't want to, you can chuck your answers in the chat box. But what are some body weight exercises that you find good for your arthritis? And whilst we have a chat about this, what we're going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pass it over to Sean. But feel free to chuck in the chat box what some of your favorite body weight exercises are, or have it take yourself off mute as well.
Walking in the water.
Yes, that's a really good one, Gail. Definitely. Walking in the water is so good.
Right. And sitting still so it doesn't hurt.
Yes, yes. Oh, someone wrote arthritis moves and walking. Definitely.
Sit to stand on a chair.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a really good exercise. Sit to stand on the chair, definitely. Oh, someone wrote plank and push up with a table and chair. That's, yes. Even against the wall as well, push-ups against the wall. Hey, Sean.
Definitely.
Sean, what are some of your favorite body weight exercises?
Oh, look, I'm going to definitely get into that in a second. There's so many different things you can do, but Bree's totally correct. Sorry, Bree,
Yeah, go for it. It's over to you now.
Yeah, oh, cool. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Bree. And we will definitely get into some of the exercises that I like everyone to be able to do. Look, let me tell you that I'm obviously the community health coordinator here at Arthritis Queensland, as Bree mentioned. I've had about 25, 30 odd years. I don't know, I'm pretty old. I've had about 25, 30 odd years in the health and fitness industry. So I'm going to share some of the wisdom that I found coming up through that time. Look, nothing's really changed. We've all still got the same bodies in 30 years. We haven't made too many adaptations. I think it takes a millennia to make an adaptation in our bodies. But look, so everything's pretty much still the same, but there's been a few things that have changed in mindsets as far as what kind of exercise you should do and what you should do when you've got an injury or you've got issues such as arthritis. Okay, arthritis, joint pain. I don't need to tell you guys what arthritis is all about because you guys are living it. So you've got two main types of arthritis, inflammatory and non-inflammatory. But the good news is, and there's 150 different types of arthritis you could possibly have. The good news is some of the answers are all the same. It doesn't matter which arthritis you have, and so you need to be active. I hope Bree's convinced you of that, but that is basically what you're trying to do. Look, life equals movement. Okay, so to live, I believe you also need to move. Unless you maybe own a large portion of the earth and you've got plenty of servants, or unless you're in maybe a coma in the hospital, you need to be able to move. If you do have servants, or if you are in a hospital and someone's totally taking care of you and you are inert in your bed, your brain and your heart and your lungs are probably going to get sustenance. Someone's taking care of your bodily needs. But apart from that, that's really all you need to do to live. But of course, that's not the living that we probably all want or that we all think of. And not many of us own half of the planet and have lots of servants and are emperors in our own right, even though we'd love to be. And we definitely don't want to be in a coma and restricted to a hospital bed. So
servants, if you like.
I'm not putting my hand up for it. Sorry. No, look, that's good. So look, what we need, our bodies decided a long time ago that in order for our brains and our lungs and our hearts, the main organs in our bodies, to be able to survive and live, we need other things. And those other things are limbs, legs, arms, torso, and they get us to that food. They get us to that water. They get us out of the harsh environment so that we don't freeze to death or burn to death. So those things are so important. So for me, to be able to move, so we've got all these things that make us move, and that is essentially what life is. Okay, so movement and life, they are the same. They're one and the same. You need to do it. You all know everyone lives by the adage of use it or lose it. Look, that's definitely true. That's most definitely true. And there's another adage that doctors have been giving us for a long time. If it hurts, stop. Now, I go back 30 years when I was started in the industry. That was definitely true. It was like, that's what everyone said. Doctors said it, physio said it, personal trainers and gym instructors said it. And look, is it right? Yes, but it's only half the story. So if it hurts, that hurts, stop right there, stop. Okay, that's cool. But do you stop working through this joint altogether? Common wisdom now is no, you don't. So often now people will go and they'll be surprised. I'll go, oh, wow, I went to my doctor. And my doctor said, Sean, this is hurt. You've hurt this. Let's find a way to move it. Why do they say that? Why do they say, let's get some movement in there regardless? I just finished telling you it's hurt. Shouldn't we be resting it? It's sort of that's sort of the logic we might all try and employ. But the opposite is true, because every time you move it, you get good stuff into that joint. So obviously oxygen, obviously nutrients, minerals, all that kind of stuff goes into the joint and into all the infrastructure in the joint, such as your cartilage and your bones and everything that's in there. And it also gets a chance to pull the bad stuff out. That's us as an organism. We put good stuff in, bad stuff comes out. That's life. That's humans. That's all animals. And the same is true for your joints. All right. So look, you need to get the movement through there. So yeah, look, it hurts for you to do that, to reach up and grab something. Got it. But is there another way that you can start to encourage that motion and hit it obliquely? So we're coming from a different angle and approaching that problem and still doing it. So my mum has a frozen shoulder. A lot of you would have heard, or maybe even are suffering with frozen shoulders. It is what it sounds. It's where your shoulder just doesn't let you go past a certain point. It's like my mum will go, oh, I can't go past there. And that's it. So her physio got my dad to build. Lucky he's a little bit handy. I didn't get those genes, but he's a bit handy, and my mum's physio got him to rig up a pulley with a rope through it. One's got a handle on this side and a handle on this side, and mum was to reach up, grab that handle, and drag this arm up. So there was no pressure through her. It didn't hurt her, but the arm was still moving through that range. Blood was still getting in there, but the pressure was off and it wasn't as severe, but you're still increasing your range of motion. That little aphorism that we said before, use it or lose it, it's so true. If you just stop reaching at a certain point, you will stop reaching. And a year later, you'll go to try and grab something. I watched my nan go through this. She'd go up and try and grab her teacup. She'd be able to pull it down from the shelf. And she was doing it, and then it started to get more painful. And she got us to move all the teacups down for her to a lower shelf. And then one day we were over, and she went to try and reach up. Just couldn't do it. And she went, oh, that's right, I can't do that anymore. And that's pretty much it for her. So she's never really got past that point again, unfortunately. So you do have to use it, or you will lose it. You'll lose that range of motion. And look, we all want to be able to do this, do that, because things come up in life. You might have to pick something up when you're gardening, move it over to this side. You want to know that you can do that and not hurt yourself and injure yourself. So look, there is a lot more. So hopefully, Bree and I are going to be able to convince you that movement and activity is absolutely essential. Doesn't matter what kind of arthritis you have. That's probably our biggest goal here. So, but what that also means is your arthritis can improve, your management of it can improve. We're not saying that you're going to get back to your 20s and start skateboarding and pole vaulting and jet skiing, whatever you used to do in your 20s. I don't know. But we're not saying you're not going to get back to that point, but hopefully you can at least gather what you're doing in your 30s and your 40s, and you're able to still maintain going for a long walk, still maintain playing with your son, daughter, or grandkids, still maintain being able to go out and have a meal and go for a walk along the beach with some friends when they invite you. That kind of thing. That is sort of life that we're all used to living and that we want to continue living. Okay,
so sorry, Sean.
Sorry, can I get you to start with your name?
Gail.
G'day, Gail. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Sean. Your mate, Gail. So what happens, Sean, if it's not my hip, not my knee, but it's actually my thigh muscle that is causing the pain, and it's got nothing to do I guess it's called referred pain, but the pain is that bad that it's chronic, and any sort of movement leaves me screaming. Even putting my leg up on the bed is like trying to move Mount Everest, and the pain is just really overwhelming. How can we move if you're dealing with that sort of pain?
Gail, fairly soon in the next few slides, I'm going to talk about another factor that does sort of influence our movement, etc. So I will get to a little bit of that. But again, when you are dealing with acute pain, I think Bree's got it in her notes on our website. If you're dealing with acute pain, look, you really do need to make sure that you are getting a proper diagnosis or assessment from a health professional. So where you're looking at physiotherapists, exercise physiologists, If it's acute, I would probably go to a physiotherapist first. Do you need a referral? A lot of people think they need referrals. You do not need a referral to go to a physio. You go to a physio, make your booking, go on in. They will assess you, and they might go, "Oh, I need some X-rays. Oh, I need this. I need you to go chat to your doctor about that." They'll send you on, but you just book into your physio and firstly get assessed. So physios will only see you for a short time. Then you move on, and if you need to do extra exercise, they might refer you on to an exercise physiologist for ongoing treatment and intervention. But look, we've really got to say, you've got to see the professionals, especially when you're dealing with acute pain, because as we're about to find out in some subsequent slides, there can be a lot of different ramifications and little bits and pieces that influence. Our whole body is connected. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Thanks, Gail. It's good to have you here. Excellent. So Bree's talked about why. We're now going to get a little bit more specific and talk about what, when, where, and just a little bit more on exactly what you can do to help yourself with your arthritis. Moving on to the next slide. Let's see if I can get this right. Oh, well done, Sean. Thank you very much. Excellent. Here we go. So here's some good news. Without doing absolutely anything, you can still get some changes in your body. And this is without doing absolutely anything. So 3 things can happen to your body. And this is purely just because we get older, because that's something that we all share in common. Everyone does it. And at the moment, we can't reverse it. It's a bit of a linear process for us all, and we age. So 3 things that will happen, and you don't have to do a thing. You just sit there, do nothing, and this will happen to you. Sarcopenia, okay? All that means is by the age of 40 onwards, you will lose muscle and strength. It's not. So if you do nothing to prevent that, it will just happen. Good news. That's excellent. By the time you're 80, you can lose up to 50% of your muscle and your strength. The strength goes with it. It's a bit of a hand-in-hand type deal. So that's called sarcopenia. Excellent. So osteopenia. Now it's a precursor to, everyone's heard of osteoporosis. So osteopenia is the precursor to that. So osteopenia, loss of bone mineral density. You have then obviously a greater risk of osteoporosis. We all know what osteoporosis is all about. People talk about brittle bones. Bones get weak, okay? You're losing your bone mineral density, less dense, okay? So what can that lead to? Falling, coughing can cause breaks. So if you fall, or sometimes even just coughing, you can snap ribs when you've got bad osteoporosis. So osteopenia, easy, don't do anything, and you'll just get it, it'll be fine. Inflexibility, okay? So this is when you're not as flexible. It's the opposite of being flexible. 55 plus, you lose 6 degrees of loss of movement each decade, okay? So, and your collagen will decrease from the age of 25 years. Your tendons and your core cartilage will become less flexible. So your collagen builds your tendons and your cartilage. They're all built out of collagen, and that starts to become less flexible. So it just doesn't move as much. That starts happening from the age of 25. 55 plus, you'll just start to lose, range of motion. So here's L shoulder flexion up to here. So that's your shoulder flexing up through there. So maybe you can't get to there anymore when you're 55. Maybe you just get into here. And then 65, you just get into there. And then 75, you go to get on the bus and you struggle to get that go-kart up and give it a swipe. That's sort of what you have to do. And the good thing about this is you don't have to do anything at all. You do nothing to prevent these and they'll just happen. So bonus, that's excellent. So sarcopenia, osteopenia, inflexibility. But Bree's told us that the movement is the key to overcoming all of the ills that arthritis will lead us to, and also just managing it and living the life you want. So can we prevent these three things from happening? To an extent you can. Look, there are genetic factors, okay, but you give yourself the best chance of getting almost zero effect from these three things by making sure you're moving and you're balanced and you're doing as much as you can. What movement? Let's have a look at that now. Excellent. Beautiful. Strong, fit, and flexible. This is what we're talking about today. Excuse me. These are the three determinants of movement. Okay, so these are the things, the ways that we move. I am going to move on and talk to you and impress upon you that all of these things are, they're all related, they're all interconnected, they're all interlocked. There's strength factors in fitness work, there's fitness work in flexibility, and there's flexibility in strength. They're all connected, but we sort of separate them out so that we know that we're getting certain, hitting certain targets on each one of these sectors. Now, the World Health Organization, the WHO, have given us some guidelines. I'll go over them in a second. But for now, let's have a talk about exactly what each part does. So for this webinar, we're talking about strength and endurance and or fitness. So fitness, endurance, we're sort of putting them in together. Everyone understands what fitness is, and the endurance is being able to continue just exactly what Bree said, and to be able to sustain whatever you want to do. Flexibility and stability, that's going to be addressed by Bree next week. And then the week after, she'll be addressing everything and wrapping everything up and give you some real life examples of what you can do. So please tune into that. Flexibility and stability, really important, massively important. As I'm trying to tell you, just as important as strength and fitness, just as important. Flexibility, it's all one big little, what is that, like an orange? I don't know, whatever your circle sectors are, whatever you want to imagine they are, but they're so important. So please, if you haven't signed up for next week's webinar, do so straight after this one. Excellent. So let's have a look at some examples of, firstly, strength. Okay, so strength, I think someone mentioned it just before, standing up from a chair. It's just something we want to be able to do, okay, because we all like sitting, probably a little bit too much. World Health Organization is recognizing this, and they've actually said, and we'll talk about this later, we're going to recommend this much, but we actually want you to do way more than that, because people sit down way too much these days. So look, it's something that they recognize. So if we're going to sit down, you want to be able to get back up again. Okay, so that's just almost a basic requirement for us. So standing up from a chair, doesn't just mean standing up from a chair. It could also mean standing up from a squat position where you've just picked up some groceries, standing up where you've just grabbed a weed out of your garden and pulled it up, all those little things. Okay, so that's strength. Another marker for our strength, another real life example, opening a bottle, opening anything in the kitchen, that is definitely a marker of strength. In maybe the 1950s, 1940s, they used to talk about grip strength, and that was a big market. It's starting to come back now in popularity. So they actually have machines that measure your grip and how strong it is. And grip strength used to be a big thing, back in the 1950s. That was sort of your measure for things. Can you open this bottle? Can you grab something and lift it up? That's just basic grip strength. So opening a bottle, pulling on a heavy door at the shops. This is strength. So how many places do you go to and they don't have automated doors? Not every place does. Maybe it's your doctor's surgery. You reach out and you pull and you go, there's like aircon behind us, and we've got a bit of a vacuum happening and a bit of a suction. You're trying to pull it open. It's already a heavy, big, tall door. It can be a bit embarrassing if you're struggling with it. So, you know, you want to be able to know that you can grab that, pull it open, take your time, get through the door. You don't have to pull it open, hold it to a point, and then try and wedge yourself through the door, which I know I've had to do before, embarrassingly. So look, that's strength. Okay, that's what we're talking about when we talk about strength. Fitness. What are we looking at? Run to catch the ferry. Okay, now that's fitness. Now I had a lady who did our arthritis moves class. I'll talk to you about that in a second. She did our arthritis moves classes, and one of the stories she gave us was that, Sean, I'm so happy I've been doing these classes. I was able to run to the ferry with my grandchildren, and we actually caught it. I didn't think I was going to make it, and I know for a fact I would not have even attempted it a year ago before she started the classes. Okay, so that was an amazing thing for her to be able to get her heart rate up and get up to that ferry. But it also meant that she was strong enough. The strength classes had kept her bones, her joints, her stability, her flexibility was obviously good enough as well. Because if she wasn't flexible enough to do those longer strides, she would have pulled something and would not have made it to the ferry at all. Okay, so they're all connected. I want to keep going back to that. Other things for fitness and endurance. So Bree was talking about endurance. So fitness / endurance. Garden for longer than an hour. Okay, so you know some people like to do that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about should you be doing that. We'll talk about that in a second. Walking with your grandkids along the beach. This is all basic stuff. This is quality of life for a lot of us. We want to be able to do these things, and this is sort of the fitness that you do. So you're sort of almost training, especially when you've got arthritis. You're almost training to be able to have the option to do these things. You're not going to be asked to walk along the beach for a couple of kilometers through the sand, which is hard going, really hard going. You're not going to be asked to do that every single day. But when your grandkids come over to visit and they want to go down the beach and do that, you want to know that you can do that with them. Now, flexibility, Bree's going to talk about this next week, but pick the wash basket up from the ground. Okay, I don't know how many people as a fitness instructor who've come to me as soon as the first thing I say when they go, oh, my back, I've done my back, Sean. I said, oh, washing basket. And they're like, yeah. Or so often, it's crazy. I used to also work up in Caboolture a lot. And the other thing was horse riding accident. Yeah, always horse riding. Horse riding or wash baskets, they're deadly. But look, to be able to pick up a wash basket, you're in a stretch position, your bum's stretched, your hamstrings are stretched, your lower back is stretched, your upper back is stretched. If you can't make it down to pick it up off the ground and turn and put it somewhere, that's where flexibility really comes into its own. Pass the salt to the other end of the table. Basic picking it up. Your body, when you're in a sitting position at the table, everything's shortened. It's sort of locked in that position. And then you go to pass something to someone, and it's like, well, that's as far as this joint's going to go. That's as far as this joint's going to go. And this is as far as everything else is going to go. So you have to sit there holding this out to someone, and then they have to make the leap and then pull it away from you. Wouldn't it be lovely to just be able to reach out and go, there you go? A lot better. Okay, so, and reaching the top shelf in the teacups, I've already spoken about that. This is the kind of thing. Have I got that range of motion through there? This is what we live for. This is how we want to live. Excellent, everyone. And again, I'm talking about not working in isolation. All of these things are sort of linked together. You need to be doing all of it. And again, World Health Organization, I'll tell you what they've asked us to do in a second. Next slide, please. I don't know who changed that, but there we go. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to confuse matters a little bit, but I don't want you to get bogged down in this. Here's another little thing for you to think about. And I'm talking about this stuff, even though it's a little bit more technical, I'm talking about it to impress upon you that we are all connected. Everything in our body is connected. Gail was just talking to us about, oh, this is hurting down here, this is hurting down here. And then it's all just culminating down in my thighs. this is what we're talking about. Okay. Our bodies work as a unit, and a lot of this is due to our fascia. Okay. What is fascia? So you see in the slide there, we are like haggis. Okay. So that is haggis. So if anyone was confused, that is definitely a picture of haggis. So the part about haggis is maybe we're chopped up bits and pieces with cloves and bay leaves in us. I don't know. But the main part I want you to take away is you see that membrane skin outer thing. I think it's like a sheep's intestine that they pull out and they stretch over. This is what we have all throughout our body. It's called our fascia. It sits underneath, so it's subcutaneous, underneath the skin. So it sits under the skin, but on top of the muscles, but also it doesn't just sit in between the muscle and the skin right in the middle there. It also weaves its way into a lot of our organs, in, around, or a lot of our connective tissue. It is like a web-like surface that just goes through everything. Oh, hang on a sec. Sorry, is that showing? I should take that off there. Apologies. There we go. Fascia is a thin casing of connective tissue holding and surrounding all of our muscles, organs, blood vessels, bone, nerve fiber in place. And it is sensitive. It's the largest sensory organ in the body. Okay, so literally think of the haggis, think of God or whatever creator, or if there's no creator in your creation story, whatever you believe in, think of that just stretching something over all our bits and pieces like a big bunch of sticky tape just to sort of keep us all together. And it just cinches in, and it's strong. It's strong. I saw one guy, he grabbed some chicken that was cooked. So the fascia of the chicken and the actual chicken meat was all cooked. He picked up with the fascia, so it's like it's a membranous type, material. He picked up the whole chicken by that membrane. It's strong, and then he tried to pick up the whole chicken by a bit of the meat, and it just fell off. So look, that membrane is super strong. Okay, it has real consequences on us. So I want you to picture if you're wearing like a skivvy, a really tight skivvy, or maybe a whole bodysuit. I don't know what you do on a Friday night, whatever you like to dress up like, but whatever you're wearing, really tight against your skin. And let's look at this picture here, the fascia there. Let's say someone pulled him where his top thumb is, pulled that skivvy just up through there. All of a sudden, he's getting pulled up in this direction. The skivvy pulls up, the whole body moves subtly in that way. Then you've got maybe someone pulling from lower down the spine where the second thumb is and pulling down this way. And maybe there's something else that's happened. And he's getting pulled in another way. All of a sudden, that skivvy is sort of doing this. And we all know how uncomfortable that is to be in tight clothing that is doing that. Add to the fact that that skivvy has pain receptors all over it, and it's getting pulled out. So it's actually making a lot of different, it's having a lot of impact on you and what you're doing. Can you affect it? Yes, you can affect the fascia. You can definitely help it. There's myofascial therapy that you can do on it. But look, a lot of it is about, so look, if we look at fascia adhesion, that's where the fascia crinkles. So just what I'm talking about, someone's grabbed your skivvy and crinkled it up, like your haggis casing, whatever you want to think about there. So someone's done that, that can be caused by limited physical activity. Okay, so that can cause it all to crinkle. Too much repetition. Okay, so everyone's, you've all done that. I did 3 hours of crocheting in a row, and boom, on my hand, everything's inflamed. Okay, trauma from surgery or injury. Okay, so it just takes a few little places getting pulled out, and they're getting pulled and stretched in opposite directions to really cause a big of an issue. I'm talking to you about the fascia because I want you to recognize that it makes a big difference in our bodies, and everything is connected. So there you go, Gail. There is something connecting everything through there. And it doesn't just go around the outside. As I said, it goes in and out of your organs and your tendons and all your connective tissue as well. It's everywhere. So another big factor. But again, it just shows us that it's super important to realize that everything's connected. You need to not work anything in isolation. You need to do a whole lot of everything. Excellent, everyone. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so now we're moving on to some exercises, what we can do about helping the fascia, what we can do about getting that blood pumping through those joints and getting all of that moving. So we've established that activity and movement is good. We want that. It's got to happen. If it doesn't happen, you know, you can either idolize being in a hospital bed doing nothing, or you can idolize being able to walk around, live your life the way you want to live it. So that's what we're trying to do. So you need to do some exercises. I'm going to go through these quickly. I'm not here to prescribe each person exercises. I'm going to look at some general exercises. We've also got our sister organisation, Arthritis New South Wales. Now, they've got an excellent series called the Get Moving series on there that you can have a look at, and you can go through some simple circuits. Kat there has presented these circuits with these exercises, but I'm going to talk about a few of the more, biggest exercises, more popular exercises that have a lot of effect for your everyday life. Okay, the first one. So there's two big ball and hip joints. Okay, they're your hips, and there's also your shoulder. Okay, so the shoulder complex and the hips. So the three exercises that I want to go through are mostly centered around those body parts there. So firstly, your hips. The first thing is, so you've got the sit to stand or the squat, and it is what it says. You know, let's have a look at this lady standing up. So it is exactly what it says. She stands up, and that's it. Sitting to stand or squatting. So you can see the young lady also doing a squat. So she could be squatting onto some lower couch, and a lot of couches are so low these days as well. So it's really good to be able to do this. Excuse me. But let's look. It's an essential exercise. You can perform it, and it will assist the quality of your life. It helps with posture, pelvic stability, and walking efficiently. It's called the king of exercises, and for good reason. Okay, so some things to really think about is when you're first starting. So let's say we're right at the point. So Gail is at that point where she's in acute pain. So she needs to first have a chat to a physio and get some treatment there. When that pain is relieved by the physio after a little bit of treatment, she can start to incorporate some sit to stands, for example. Sorry, Gail, I'm not picking on you. I'm just using your story, if that's okay. So you've got the sit to stand. Basically, you're coming up out of a chair. Some people struggle to get out of a chair, so that might look like this when they're getting out of the chair. I'm just going to go back a little bit. So, oops, there you go. Excellent. So they might have to come forward, and they might have to stand here like this and really come forward, and then rock, and then they might have to come right up and out and support themselves, and that might be what a sit to stand looks like for them. Okay.
Have you got a camera in my house? See me get up.
There you go. Now look, that's that might be exactly what it looks like for them, and that's fine. But can you improve that? If you're at that point, what I would say is, instead of doing what the young lady is doing, and if you haven't got a lovely friend such as the older person in the video, maybe you are just going to grab onto a chair. You're going to hold onto the chair here, and all you're going to do, spread your feet, and you're just going to dip your bottom down, and then you're going to come back up. If you look at my knees, I hardly went down far at all. Sorry, everyone, my blur on my camera's on, but I think you can still see. My feet are just under my shoulders. My knees are tracking, they're not falling in. They're just going to go in line with my toes. So everything's just in line. My knees aren't going to go all the way forward. They're going to stay here. And I'm just going to dip my bottom just down a little bit. And then I'm going to come straight back up again. And that might be where you start. And then you progress to a little bit lower when that feels comfortable. And then a little bit lower when that feels comfortable. Eventually, you might get to the point of, I'm just grabbing my pillow. It's a lovely pillow. Sitting on a chair. Now, I've put one pillow here. Maybe you put a couple of cushions there so you don't go down too low. And I'd probably try and get a bit of a taller chair if you've got that luxury. And then you're just coming to the point where you will just, there's the chair, and you're just going to come straight down and you're going to sit on the chair. You might have your arms out for balance, and you might also hold on here and then straight up through there. Now that is a sit to stand. How many would you do? Maybe 8, 10, or you start off at 5. It doesn't matter where you start. Is what I always say. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters where you end up. Okay, so start with whatever you need to. You might start with 2 or 3 to begin with, and then you go progress on from there. I'm going to leave that pillow there because that's really quite comfortable. Thank you. Excellent, everyone. So look, that's your sit to stand. That's your hip joint. It works your bum, your thighs, all your stabilizers through your abdominal system as well. It's an unbelievable exercise. That I would say would be a bit of a, just something to sort of use as a bit of a guide. Can you do this? Where are you at? Again, if you're only at holding onto the back of a chair and dipping your bum out and back, that's fine. Stay there, that's great, but build up. It will get stronger. And if it's too painful though, you know, you probably at that point, you need to go and see a physiotherapist or an exercise physiologist and get some more different attention, where maybe they might give you some exercises where you're seated or where you're seated or even prone, and just slowly build up from there. So that's at that point. Excellent, everyone. We're going to move on to the next slide. Now, this one is the pull. Okay, so we talked about 2 areas. So you've got your hip and you've got your shoulder. Now, this is doing the shoulder to the back. So pulling from the front to the back, that's where the resistance is. So this is a row. Now, the main movers here are your back muscle. So your shoulder blades are doing a lot of work. How are you going to start this? Now, these lovely ladies seated on the ground have got TheraBands. So you can definitely use the TheraBands if you've got one. $8 from Kmart or Big W or Target. They all sell them. They're just thin pieces of plastic, a bit like our fascia, but not inside our bodies. So you've got their band there. You might wrap it around the door handle, and then you just pull straight back, just like those ladies are doing. What are some important things to look at when you're doing this? Some of the important things to look at are your positioning of your elbows. So whenever you're doing upper body stuff, you see how this elbow is in close. As soon as you start moving a joint away from the center line, so think of this as my center line, as soon as you start moving it away and opening the joint up, that actually makes it a little more vulnerable. So when you're starting, you know, at a point where it's a bit easier, where you're starting at a really infantile point, you're taking it nice and easy, you might have a bit of injury. You want to keep your elbow, you want to keep your joint closed as much as possible and in tight. Okay, so when you're moving in like that. Shoulder blades in my back are coming together and then stretching out. Coming together and stretching out. This would be level 1. I've got nothing in my hands. I'm just holding it there and I'm pulling in and I'm bringing my shoulder blades together and then straight back out. You might do that for 7, to 10 times to 12 times, and then you rest, and then you might do it again. Okay, or you might do that 7 to 12 times, then you do a sit to stand 5 to 10 times, and then you come back to one of these, squeezing it in. Now, if you want to make it a bit harder, if you're feeling that's a bit too light, of course, grab your TheraBand, pull it back, or you can grab some weights and pull that back as well. So a lot of different options, but that is a really important movement. But again, as I said, keep everything in close. Don't do chicken wings. No need for chicken wings, just keep it all in close, and it makes a big difference. That's your pull. Let's have a look at the last one. What did I do? There we go, push. Now you can see the lady there. Now, everyone knows what a push-up is. I'm not going to bore you guys. You know what we're talking about here. You've got the lady doing a level 2. The lady moving in the video is doing a level 1. So that's obviously a pretty hardcore because there's a lot of stabilization involved in that. There's a lot of the ability to hold yourself, a lot of strength through your arms and your feet, especially your arms. So you need to take it easy with that movement. So how am I going to take it easy? Especially if you've got shoulder impingement already, you're going to go to the wall. So I think Bree touched on this earlier. So if you went to your wall, you're holding in there. Now, if you look at the lady in the picture again, her hands are closer in and her wrists are down. If I drew a line across my wrist, they go just under my chest. That's good. You want that. So in a bit closer. Elbows, again, what do we say? Not out here, like a chicken wings, in closer, touching the wall. My feet are in. Now I'm going to move my feet out a little bit, makes it a little bit harder. If that's too hard, just put one foot back in. And then I'm going to go close. My nose might even touch the wall. That's not hard, my nose is big. And I go straight back out, and then I come straight back down again. Excellent. If your nose isn't as big as mine, you may just want to stop short. Excellent, everyone. Now that is just a really simple chest press. How are you going to make that harder? You're going to take your feet further away from the wall and then come out. But Sean, I can do that for 3 lots of 15. How am I going to make it harder? Then you can go down to a desk, okay? And then I'd probably use a kitchen bench because that ain't going to move. Grab your kitchen bench and you're going the exact same movement. Remember, your markers are your wrist, and the wrist will draw a line across the bottom of your chest, and then you're going through there, that motion. So what have we got? We've got a sit to stand. You might do 5 or 10 of those. Maybe you're holding onto the back of the chair. Maybe you're actually got a couple of cushions and you're sitting up out of your chair. The next exercise, you do maybe a lot of 10 of those or 12, and then you've got the pull exercise. So you've got the pull and you're pulling it through. Maybe you've just got nothing in your hands. Maybe you're leaning over a little bit, and you've got your weight in your hand and you're just pulling through there. And maybe you're doing both arms together. That's fine. Legs are spread, you're all supported, and you're pulling straight back. That's good. And then you might do that for 10 or 15, then you grab your chest and you press out through there. So you've got that as well. And then you might go back and do that all over again. The sit to stand, the pull, and the push. They're 3 basic exercises. When would I do these though? I would do these, hang on a second, probably after I did a bit of fitness endurance work. That's just me, but it's a good idea for everyone. So fitness endurance work. Oh, keep hitting the wrong arrow. There we go. Excellent. Options for fitness endurance. So some of the things you need to think about for fitness and endurance are you always warm everything up. So even with those exercises we're talking about, the fitness endurance stuff is the warm up for those strength exercises we're talking. Okay, and then you can just do that, and then you may be doing a bit of stretching afterwards. Bree's going through that next week. If you haven't signed up, sign up after this, please. It's really important. We talked about the fascia. She'll be going through all that stuff. That will make an impact, or your flexibility as well. Remember, it's one of the 3 triumvirates there. You need to know that stuff. So options with fitness, what am I going to do? Stationary bikes, rowers, cycling. You've got all these games. You've got walking netball, bushwalking. You got pétanque, which is like bowls, but done outside by little Frenchmen. We used to have some across the road from us. They were excellent. They had so much fun. Gate ball, some people would know it as croquet. Pickleball, it's like a small version of tennis. You got floor cycles as well. Look, I'm going to talk to you about probably the three entry-level exercises. Obviously, walking is number one. All right. Some of you walk with the walker. That's fine. Start off around your house, doing laps around the house, or maybe just moving out to the front fence. That's fine. If you need a stick, that's great. That's fine. What I would say to you is, if you look at this lady up the top here, she has these things called poles. You've seen the walking poles. People use them in the Himalayas when they're going trekking, you know, that kind of stuff. So you look very professional, but geez, do they make a difference to stability. They are unbelievable. Anaconda, I don't know how much they are. BCF, you know, outdoor adventure places will sell them, and they're just excellent. Please don't feel that you look stupid. Just do it, because it will make such a difference. It will get you to that point where you are doing what the people down the bottom are doing in this slide, bushwalking. Okay, it'll get you to that point. Start with the poles. I can't stress it enough. They're fantastic. Everyone in this webinar is part of Arthritis Queensland. And of course, I and Bree, we're always here to chat to you anytime. If you want to talk to us about pole walking, please let me know. The other thing, warm water walking. Try and find a pool nearby. Now, this is a luxury for a lot of suburbs have it. Ascot has it, surprise. So look, a pool that has a ramp that allows you to walk into. If you can get in and out of a pool, fine, excellent. But if you can find one with the ramp, that would be brilliant. Going down with the ramp into the pool, walking around, doing all your thing. Look, it's as simple as you go into the pool, you walk. It's a shallow pool. It's usually a smaller pool, so it usually only goes up to your chest. You do 1 or 2 laps of walking. Brilliant, especially when you've got arthritis. And then you might do a couple of exercises in there, lifting your arms through the water, doing some squats in there, doing some back kicks or something nice and easy. So you've got those exercises as well. Warm water walking. And the last one is a floor cycle. If you can't even do any of those because of where you're at, you know, if you've got acute pain like Gail does, maybe you've got a cycle. There's these little cycles. It's purely just pedals attached to a bit of a cog. You sit it on your lounge room floor, and around you go, and around you go. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. So there's some 3 entry-level exercises that you can do. I was mentioning before with the resistance work. Sorry, I've gone the wrong way again. With the resistance work, Arthritis New South Wales have got something on a site. Bree will put that link up for everyone to have a look at with the circuits. So please have a look at that. Now, you've got the cardio that we just talked about, and you've got the strength stuff. That's what we're focusing on in this talk. And just really quickly to finish off, I'm going to tell you what the World Health Organization recommends. They want you to do 2 muscle strengthening sessions a week. They want you to do 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise. So that's like almost 3 hours a week. You spread that out, you're looking at about half an hour a day. This is their minimum that they're talking about. This is their recommended minimum, okay? That's a moderate, so you just get your heart rate up just over what you normally do. If you're going to do some vigorous stuff, like if you see in this previous photo here, you've got the rower there, he's doing that. If you're doing something vigorous like that, that's cool. You only need to do half of that time, so maybe 3 lots of 30 minutes per week. Be fantastic. If you're over 65, they say you must be doing some functional balance stuff. Again, that's next week. Tune in, sign in to Bree's webinar next week. You must be doing functional stuff. That's balance stuff, okay, as well. Now, I'm going to draw your attention to the fact that they also ask you to limit your sedentary behavior, which is just sitting around. Limit that. If you're going to sit for longer than half an hour, get up, even if it's for 2 minutes. Walk around, go to the toilet, get a drink, sit back down. Do you have to set an alarm to do that? Maybe you do if you're at the computer. You can get lost in Facebook or whatever you're on, and it's like, oh, I've done 2 hours of sitting and doing nothing. Set an alarm every half an hour. Get up, go for a walk. Get up, go for a walk. It gets everything going again, especially your metabolism, etc. The last thing I'm going to draw your attention to is the fact that the World Health Organization has said do more than is recommended. You've got to do more than what you've got, than what they've asked you to do. This is only a minimum, okay? And that's a nod to the fact that we are living in a world that makes us a lot more sedentary, whether it's computers, whatever it is. We are just sitting around a lot more. So to combat that, you need to be doing more than their recommendations. That is definitely a minimum. Fantastic. Now, Arthritis Queensland, we've got a couple of solutions. We've got the webinars. You can learn stuff off there. Bree's going to share the Arthritis New South Wales Get Moving site with you at the end of this as well. So have a look at those videos. They're fantastic. We've also got 2 programs that we do. We do it online. You guys are all good with online. I know you are, because here we are online. Arthritis Moves and Dance for Arthritis. So Dance for Arthritis, Queensland Ballet take us through an arthritis ballet workout. It is unbelievable. Men, I have done it a few times myself. It is really rewarding. There's a Vietnam veterans ballet class out now by Queensland Ballet. So a lot of men are getting into this. It's brilliant. Arthritis Moves, strength workout, exercise physiologist taking you through a full hour. So you've got that. That will tick off 60 minutes of your 300 minutes that you're meant to be doing of your strength of your workouts through the week. So look, that's amazing. We've got some options. Again, you're all part of Arthritis Queensland now, because we've got your email and your contact details. You can't go anywhere. We'll follow you. But you're all part of us now. We can help you whenever you need to. Call us. Bree runs an amazing program called Arthritis Assist and Peer Mentor program. And I, of course, work on all these online classes. Ring me up. Let me know what you need. I will get you into it and get you started. Everyone, I've gone over time. Bree's going to get off this call now and just give it to me. So I'm really terribly sorry. But